Alright. Sorry I'm late. I do believe I intended to make my time, but I have 5 dogs and 2 cats, and they all decided they had to use the bathroom at the same time. So it's a big event. Oh, let me make sure that screen's off. But anyway. And yes, I know the title could be misconstrued as throwing shade, but I would consider it more of a playful jab. So, let's just hope that people don't take offense too badly. So, how is everyone tonight? Is anyone even here yet? Do tell me if I am too quiet or too loud. Hello, Karen. Glad you could join us. This will probably be a semi-short stream, depending on how it goes. And I will probably be streaming more of the Star Wars game later tonight. Probably do have all night as well, because tomorrow is a free day. It's going good here, Karen. I've been spending most of my day just dealing with my animals and moving out and about doing errands. Good. I always get worried about the volume because I have had countless audio issues related to live streaming. The software is quite good. I do feel as though I should probably look into it more, but the software itself is very intuitive. It's Streamlabs. Hello CT. Glad you could make it. Now to reiterate, I'm probably going to be streaming for another hour or so, and then I plan to do a very, very long Star Wars stream, because I have all night. That's interesting. I've been recommended Dragon Ball Z. I do not watch any anime at all. None. So, Dragon Ball Z might be a good place to start for me. Although I have heard it's ridiculous. You start as a absolute zero, and then apparently by where they are now, they're blowing planets up. So, that's interesting. So, how is everybody? I've been slightly out of the loop with the Onision stuff, but he's uploaded like what 6.5 hours and growing of content at this point, just spamming his channel. So I mean, at some point, I mean, I gotta look through all that. That's wow. That's an actual mental breakdown. All those fake ones that he was doing. No, that one's an actual mental breakdown, where he's like spilling his heart out to the internet. Yeah, I might consider watching Dragon Ball Z. I heard there's some game that came out that's like really, really good, where you can make your own Dragon Ball Z character and play through like the TV show storyline, but as your own character and be involved in the events. So that's interesting. I would actually like to do that. Maybe watch the show and then play that game. Hello there, Demon Jazzy. Interesting. The wrong account. I don't know. I like that name. But so yeah, for the most part, I have been just trying to keep up with the Onision stuff. I've also been looking deep at the coronavirus stuff, and everything I keep seeing about it just keeps getting worse. Oh, hello, welcome back. So yeah, we can talk about pretty much anything. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm a little behind on the Onision stuff. If people are interested in that, because it's just the sheer load of content. It almost feels like a troll how he's uploading all that stuff at once. So definitely something I need to look into. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that they're not flying planes over China anymore. They're blocking off communications. I was on stream with Holly Undead, and apparently her son is like a journalist over there or something. And he was talking about how they have blockades set up on all the quarantine areas, and it's like full on zombie apocalypse style. People are trying to run the barricades as well. That's been reported by other people too. So it's just chaos over there. It sounds like it's the apocalypse, and that's why I don't get why people are comparing it to flu. Where in the world is flu like the apocalypse like that? It's never happened before. Oh, hey, Roger. Well, CT, since that stream or whatever, we have agreed not to speak on each other, and I intend to honor that agreement up until he breaks it. So, yeah, as far as that goes, there are some there are some thoughts I have, but I'm not going to be displaying them anytime soon. But going forward, I'm sure other people will pick up my banner and deal with all that. So, the topic of wrenches has come up. People seem to want to be moderators. So, as far as uh, rules in my chat, the rules are very simple. Ban the globalists, obviously, and just don't be unnecessarily abusive towards each other. You can be kind of abusive, just don't be unnecessarily abusive. It's fine. It's not worth crying over. I was just annoyed and amused by the whole thing. So it is what it is. Now that's funny. So if people are interested in being moderators, that should be known that if you step out of line, I will be forced to demod you and then scream at you publicly, as is tradition. So, yeah, if you would like to be considered for moderator position, put a 1 in the chat because I don't want to moderate anyone without their consent. Oh yes, I have seen your video, Roger, and I do find that very amusing. I also enjoyed the Dark Elf one. We need to hook you up with something like a decent, like you can use any like a really crappy computer that way you don't have to use your phone. I gotta figure out how to hook you up with that. I need to find myself some high rollers I can use. That's what every YouTuber needs, like a sugar daddy just to sit off to the side and help them out. Oh, there's a third rule for my chat. This one is specifically for moderators. Here, I'll make you both moderators. So I don't know how if moderators can ban each other, but we'll see. And I do trust all of you so far who have put one. The third rule for the thing is, obviously, shill the PayPal link. Obviously, that's tradition as well. Shill the PayPal link. Oh no, I'm not offering to sugar. I don't have any money. But hopefully there are other people who can sugar. Before I can sugar anybody, I'm actually gonna need to get my dogs fixed before somebody gets their throat torn out, because the males or whatever have some issues with each other. Now, as far as like I said, rules, just ban the globalists. Don't let them be unnecessarily abusive to each other. And show the PayPal link. Show the PayPal link. Yes, yes. New moderators. I think that's good for now. Unless I get under unless I end up in a situation where full chaos has been unleashed in my chat. You never know. I've seen people get raided recently in their chats by globalists. Some of them promoting satanic cults, literally, with full emotes and everything. So, be on the lookout. Oh, they are editing the death counts. There are people saying they're burning bodies in the street without checking them, specifically so they don't have to report it as a coronavirus death. I mean, at some point, the coronavirus has to be acknowledged as an actual like epidemic. I mean, they've shut down a cruise ship. I mean, here, let's click a few things and just see how things have changed in just a short little time since I started. It's hard to find any kind of official source that isn't lying. Yeah, as China clamps down on negative news, quarantine on land and the sea grows. Yeah, they're continuing to quarantine the entire country. Yes, like that. The apocalypse is coming, and I need to get a lot of things fixed, especially if I need to be on the run to escape the fucking virus, because you never know when it's going to come for you. Yeah, I agree, Roger. Any kind of bioweapon type stuff is just ridiculous. China messes around with a lot of that stuff because all their bioethics committees are owned by globalists. I mean, they even, allegedly anyway, all alleged of course, make human-animal hybrids, like human-pig hybrids, for mass organ harvesting. And they just grow them and like pigs with human organs, and they just farm them, and that's why one of the reasons why China has such a high organ transplant count, because the United Nations has already said that the whole country of China does not have enough organ donations to supplement their organ transplants. That's probably because they have concentration camps as well, where they harvest people's organs from. So I think if you combine all of that together, it kind of adds up. Yes, China would definitely consider using this as a form of population control, Karen. There's there's no doubt in my mind that the protests in Hong Kong and all those things were definitely weighing on their mind. It didn't seem to be letting up. All those people are going to get sick, and if the death rates are as bad as some people are speculating them to be, then it's over. I mean, whatever plans they had, it's done. You might as well paint Hong Kong on the map of China. Taiwan is being hit really bad, which also benefits China, and no one recognizes Taiwan at all. Apparently, the World Health Organization is not even helping Taiwan because Taiwan does not exist, according to China. Well, depending on your personal beliefs, Taiwan could theoretically be the Chinese government in exile. If you don't accept the Chi-Coms as the actual head of the Chinese state. Well, you can get coronavirus from airborne, apparently just breathing it in. You can get it from human to human transmission as well. So it's spreading pretty fast because of that. And there's also something that was, I think, posted on my comment section. I don't remember who did it. That about having HIV strands now, that's just crazy. Yeah, they definitely have a motive to do an economic war. The recent trade war that's been going on has been really bad for China. Like the yuan was valued at its lowest point in like what 20 some years not too long ago. I mean the Chinese economy is collapsing, and as soon as the economy collapses, you've got those people in rural areas who will literally march into the capital with pitchforks and start to riot like an old school medieval revolt. Yeah, I agree. Having it near a populated location is really bad. And they have the exact same symbol as the Umbrella Corporation. And apparently, the anagram for the biolab translates to raccoon. So, yeah, I'm not saying we live in a simulation or anything, but it's awfully convenient. So, if corpses start standing up, I'm out. Streams are done at that point. I'm getting on the road, and I'm hiding out in the middle of the woods. Oh yes, W. Yeah, I'm not. I'm hoping I don't catch the coronavirus if it comes here. But you never know. Things like that might just get quarantined off pretty quickly, or it could become a really big problem around the world. I don't know. Yeah. Well, the one good thing about the Nazis is that they did not mess around with bioweapons too much, as far as I'm aware. That was the one thing they really did not mess around with, because I'm sure they would have created something that would have messed with everyone in a big way. And which, by the way, we would still be doing more actively today, because a lot of these research organizations have Nazi ties since Operation Paperclip, which I might make a video on at some point, because a lot of people don't know what Operation Paperclip even is. Hey, Windorf. Oh, hey, lady. Sorry, trying to keep up with chat. But yeah, the coronavirus is really bad. I don't know what to say other than that. we're pretty much going to get completely screwed unless we start a full-on quarantine around the world. I think that I think that the governments are reacting the way they are for a reason. They're just trying to prevent panic. It might not be the end of the world, but they're going to keep trying, and whatever gets out next is what we need to be worried about. Because if they can make something this effective that did this to their own people, they're going to be like, oh, but next time we'll do it better. And then next thing you know, they'll have it all over again. And who knows what it could do that time. That time you might literally have Nazi zombies. Yeah. Yeah. The coronavirus can kill you. What they keep saying is that only the old people and the immunocompromised are really at risk of dying. But there's also a lot of evidence that that just isn't true. That there are people who are in their 30s, 40s who are otherwise healthy that end up dead. But they aren't reporting those deaths. They're just burning their bodies in the streets. So until it starts killing people outside of China and in more civilized places, for lack of a better term, we won't really know just how bad it actually is. Oh yeah, that's the thing about incubation. It has like a 2-week incubation period, I think, something like that. And that entire time, you could just be infecting people. You get on a plane back to get home from China, your coughs infect people. Well, I hope cats can't infect people. That would be bad. But generally, yeah, I've read bats. Yeah, because they eat bats and shit over there. Which I'm not gonna crap on them for eating bats and snakes and all those types of things. Generally, you can eat those things if they're prepared properly and not have issues. Now, I wouldn't eat a bat. I have eaten snake before. Snake is good. Bats are just disgusting. Bats are like rats with wings, and I wouldn't eat one of those unless I absolutely had to. Interesting. Well, I know you can. I don't know about getting disease from a dead body necessarily, but you can definitely catch a lot of other things from dead bodies, infections, like just the stuff that ends up on the dead body after the fact that I wouldn't want to mess around with. So don't go playing with any corpses. You know, don't be like those kids in the movie who are over there poking the dead body with a stick. Trying to catch up with chat. Oh yeah, it has spread to Europe. Yes, it's here. So God help us. We'll see. One, oh yeah, mad cow disease. Yeah, I've read some horror stories from mad cow disease. Well, you say that you say like don't rub your open wounds in a dead body. Uh, depending on what you're doing. Okay, I'm thinking like medieval sense or whatever. You need to bury your dead after after a battle. That sort of thing is something you got to factor in. I was thinking about the apocalypse here. Oh, that's good, Wendorf. You need to definitely not poke dead people with sticks. But it's okay. We're all guilty of messing with dead bodies sometimes. That was a joke. I don't mess with dead bodies. Well, Kanish, we had a raffle, and whoever paid me the most money was who got to be wrenched. So if you'd like to enter the raffle, I'm just fucking with you. Would you like a wrench, Kanish? Can I trust you with the power? But I think after Kanish, I will. That would be the last moderator because I don't want to have too many cooks in the kitchen, as so to speak. And this is only just in case I get raided by globalists because I've seen it happen to streamers smaller than me. Yeah, I'll watch Ask a Mortician. I had a teacher growing up whose daughter was a mortician, and he would always go on about the various things she got up to, and it was interesting. I'm curious about the sort of people that wake up one day and decide they want to get into being a mortician. You know, it's a very interesting profession. Now, as for Star Wars, I'm definitely going to be streaming that later tonight. I am a big fan of that. Now, I have played that game extensively, but the problem with playing it extensively, or sorry, the good thing about playing that game extensively is that there are so many alternate choices that it's a fairly different experience every time. You don't always know where it leads. And a lot of people, I feel like, play the game the wrong way. They either pick light side or dark side options. But there's a lot of choices that open up if you pick maybe a light side option to spare somebody. Maybe they'll come back at some point and you'll have dark side options related to them that you wouldn't have had otherwise. So, and one day, since it's an MMO, it will be shut down. And I do want to somewhat document the storylines as they are. It's one of the main reasons I want to stream it, is because eventually it will be shut down. And I don't know if people will set up the little private servers and all that for people to play it on. Oh, Kanish, I dislike the new terms of service too. Believe me, I don't even know what it means exactly. I don't. To be honest, if it's like most terms of service parts, they're just looking for an excuse to ban people whenever they feel like it, and they're not actually going to enforce it on anyone that's too small to be beneath their notice. Because YouTube doesn't enforce anything on their terms of service. They just want the right to remove people and have a justification for it, so they can have a rule like, oh, they broke this rule, so they have something to point to. You see, if they had any integrity at all, what they would do is they just post one rule: we can ban you for any reason we want, and be honest about it, because that's what they want. They want the right to just remove people who become problematic, and they're probably going to be pretty successful with it. Well, bullying is allowed as long as it doesn't become obsessive bullying. Oh, probably should write down official rules. One of those things includes not getting me banned from YouTube, because apparently you can get banned for things in your comment section. Like, what the hell is up with that? Now, I don't know if that's actually true. Now, I've heard of people in comment sections getting banned for things that they do, but I've never heard of an actual creator getting banned for things in their comment section, because that's just insanity. Now, and we're going about the terms of service. There's another part too that's very interesting. You can be banned if you're not what's the term? You can be banned. You can be banned if you're not commercially viable. That's pretty messed up. So That's why I made my channel, so I can become commercially viable. I don't want to get banned from all Google things because I'm not bringing in the dough. It's the globalist plot to make us all slaves. Roger, you are 100% on the money there. They are going to demonetize everyone eventually but the corporate entities. That's why a Patreon even exists. Patreon would not really function without all these YouTube people basically reaching out to it like it's some kind of colony to sustain themselves. What else? There's another one that people use. Oh, they use the PayPal thing, obviously. They also tend to look into oh, is it OnlyFans? Is that the other thing that people in YouTube like to use? I don't know. You'll find that I know a lot about computers, but I am very out of the loop on social media type things. I have avoided it like the plague. That Twitter account I have that I made in January of 2020 is the first one. And that selfie is the only selfie I have ever taken. So, yeah, I'm very out of the loop on those sorts of things. Yeah, daily uploads, they seem to want videos that are over 10 minutes, which sucks for people like me who I can kind of get my point across in less than 10 minutes in a lot of times. Oh, hey, Trisha. Don't ask for a wrench. You should have came here earlier. No more wrenches are being handed out. All this blue text is already throwing me off on my little screen here. So, spread the word. If the more people are in the chat, the more wrenches I'll need. I have to be like Chris Hansen eventually. I have like 1,000 wrenches to silence the dissenters. Yeah. Yeah, I think we have a good vibe going on. Yeah, some people are good at getting their point across quickly. I feel like I understand now why a lot of the YouTube people sit there and they just ramble, they repeat themselves, they have videos that borderline on recycling content because they repeat themselves over and over and over again. But it all makes sense now when you look at it, what they got to deal with. It's really weird. I don't know why YouTube would even want that. I mean, obviously they would want things also that were like 3 hours long, like those types of podcasts. Those would be the things I would want to endorse because you can put tons of advertisements on those. I don't know. Maybe there's some marketing expert at Google who knows more than I do. I can't actually host anyone on this stream at this point, but I do plan to have a guest stream at some point in the future. But I want to keep these kind of talking streams few and far in between to keep them special. Oh, don't worry. I'm not just gonna mod people without their permission, SW. I generally want to make sure they're aware of what they're doing before they're made a moderator. I don't want to be like certain other people. Oh, is Kai pregnant or not pregnant? Well, Trisha, that's an interesting question. I'm probably going to go with it's possible. It's very possible. It wouldn't surprise me at this point. He seems to have a thing for that sort of pregnancy thing, and he's going through a very stressful time right now. And it may be, in some sick way, a comfort for him. Now, the idea of him bringing another child into this world is horrifying to me. I can't think of anything worse than that. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm hoping it's not true, but it would not surprise me at this point. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna. I have a policy about not streaming out in public. Personally, I don't want to be doxxed. Or worse, have people already looking at me like, well, is this person sitting there rambling to himself? What is wrong with this person? Well, that's interesting. Well, another thing to keep in mind is that Onision is paranoid, like beyond paranoid. And something also that a lot of people aren't talking about. Anonymous Gene, this guy who's running around causing all sorts of fun. I like Anonymous Gene, by the way. Yes, he's a domestic terrorist, but I knew a lot of people like Anonymous Gene back when I was into the computer thing. Those people are generally good people behind the scenes. But Anonymous Gene said that they had another girl there at one point. That they had another groom. So it's just interesting. Hey Irish, glad you could join us. No, all my animals are young for the most part, except for my cat. He's like 10 years old. I've had him forever. Oh, I'm doing good, Irish. I don't get back to people on social media that often. It's very hard. It's very hard for me to keep up with all that because I'm just not used to it. So sorry if people send me messages and I just take days and days to get back to you. It's not on purpose. Keep my phone in the microwave for like 80% of the day. Plus, I'm also very busy during certain hours on certain days. Well, going back to the Onision topic briefly, I do believe that if Kai is pregnant, that it's probably, if there is an FBI investigation and people are actually interested in looking into it, it's going to maybe hasten things a little bit. I mean, they're definitely gonna have to approach the situation very carefully, because if they have to arrest a pregnant woman, or well, a pregnant person, it's very important that you handle that carefully, because the cops go in there and make a mistake, as they tend to do sometimes. You are going to cause one hell of a shitstorm. I have not watched Chris Hansen. I was going to watch some Chris Hansen, but I saw who the guest was, and I just couldn't be bothered. And there was another stream I was looking to catch anyway, so why bother? Uh, I will rewatch it, and if there is anything worth talking about, I will look into. Actually, I was going to make a video, maybe talking about something that's going to make a lot of people angry about, because it actually goes after the Onision victims. But I don't know. I need to look into it more. Essentially, there's a thing going around that perhaps Sarah may have doctored some evidence. That whole bloopers clip of her having the breakdown prior to making the Kai did nothing wrong video. Yeah, there's some people questioning that, and I haven't looked far enough into it to give my opinion onto it. So it's worth looking into, because it does seem a little off in the first place to me. It didn't sit right with me in the beginning. So just because I want to be 100% sure before I look into things, I'm not gonna give my opinion just yet. But there's some conversation about the beanie being on the wrong way. A mole has switched sides. Now it could just be mirroring, and there's also in a different room. Now there's some mirroring things that could be going on there, so it's worth looking into. So. Well, Kanish, the thing is that the police are already going to go through the evidence. People talking about it online is just content, and people want to hear. Most people want to hear it discussed. The whole idea, I think, of it is that if it's all being made public in the first place, it's going to be talked about by somebody. And we're sort of the media. We're like the very Z-list media that's not taken seriously in any way, except for when we are. Oh, SW, I heard about that. That's retarded. I don't know why people would do that. Oh yeah, I say that sometimes. Sorry. But the thing is that people who do that, I just don't know what else to say. I don't know. I mean, his meltdown videos are obviously fake. These people must be children. They must be like concerned children just having a freak out. So maybe I'm wrong to call them that. But if there's adults doing that, I would really like to sit down and interview somebody who called 911 on Onision, and just get an idea of what was going through their head. Well, Irish, I that was what I was kind of alluding to about there being some mirroring things that could have been going on that people were talking about. Now, I haven't looked into it, so you may very well be right. That's why I haven't made any videos or anything on it yet, just because I really want to look into this and make sure that people aren't just making a mountain out of a molehill. But Sarah would not be the one I would accuse of lying out of all the Onision victims. I mean, the only one who I'm not going to get into the Onision victim who is shady. If you've been following the Onision story for a long time, you know one of them is a little shady. Well, that's true. The county sheriffs are definitely elected, and they could definitely be just enamored by Chris Hansen's legend, and could just be saying whatever they want him to say. So that is something to keep in mind as well. It adds credibility, if nothing else, to what Chris Hansen's been saying. Oh yeah, I don't know what people are mad at Billy the Fridge for. I don't know what they were expecting. If they expected some sort of big heated confrontation, I mean, I guess that could have happened. But I think what we got was more, I'm not going to say entertaining. It may have been more entertaining if they hadn't resorted to the humping situation that occurred. That was not entertaining in any way. But just sitting down and actually having a conversation with the man and hearing, I guess, not really his thoughts, just what he has to say on the situation, was probably that was the only way you were going to be able to get it out of him. Until he had like a mental breakdown and posted it all to YouTube, apparently. But I don't have any problem with what Billy the Fridge did. Although letting the guy hump him like that, I don't know. I wouldn't have not have done that. I probably would have hit him at that point. That's yeah, that was gross. I could have gone my whole life not seeing that again. Yeah, Billy the Fridge looked kind of out of it. I don't know what was up with him. There was definitely too many there was definitely too many emotions going through his head at that point, probably after what had just happened before the conversation had wrapped up. I think the thing that makes people angry is the fact he made money off of it, which whatever. I mean, I don't know what people were expecting. If he isn't, I don't know if he promised he was gonna go beat Onision up or scream at him or something. But if he just said he was gonna go up there and talk to him, I think he accomplished the goal. He talked to him all right. He got quite a bit out of him. Yeah, I just struggle to call it entertainment with how the video went with the. I don't even want to. I don't know if I would call it a sexual assault, but definitely some sexual misconduct and some weirdness. Yeah, Onision. I mean, I don't know if they were scared of Onision. I mean, they were probably uncomfortable. Yeah, it was. It was definitely a little bit of a mocking thing. And you're right. You can't control the people who super chat you, and that's up to them. That's their business. So, but yeah, I'm just talking about it from their perspective and why people might be angry. I don't care. I mean, I don't know what people were expecting exactly from it, or why they're angry in the first place. I thought the whole thing was uncomfortable. Yeah, I think he was trying to rehabilitate his image a little bit, Roger. That's true. Oh, I'm not sure that humping helped him. You're right, it didn't. I can't get that out of my head. That's just I can't even form a cogent opinion on the whole thing because I just can't get that out of my head. I just feel bad for the guy. Yeah, I don't know why he sat there and didn't. Cause yeah, you're right. He had time to hit him for that if he wanted to. So I don't know. I think he was in shock. That's the look I got from his face. That he was in shock. He didn't know how to react to that, which is not unreasonable. I don't know. I don't know. I don't. I think that would just be ridiculous. Oh yeah. Oh, if someone. Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna say that just because someone has guns doesn't mean they're necessarily gonna pull a gun into a fist fight. But Onision is unhinged, so he might. So I get the logic there, but just man, I guess in Billy the Fridge's case, you just you make sure he's out cold and you drive away and hope you can leave before he wakes up and hope he doesn't find your house. That's the thing too. If you watch Repsion's video, he mentioned it. I didn't want uh Onision to have my car, so I took an Uber there and so we couldn't see my license plate and all that. I get that. I agree. I wouldn't want Onision knowing where I live. That 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 guy has a legitimate reason to be concerned about Onision coming to his house to kill him. I think that's more than reasonable. Oh, West Most had some protesters. Well, the thing is West Most has a legitimate case, so I don't know what they'd be protesting. They're probably just a bunch of Chris Hansen marks. So I wouldn't recommend protesting him. Yeah, I thought Wes was putting a delay on that because of the whole FBI thing. But if he hasn't, that's fine too. He has no obligation for his situation to do anything. Now, I wonder, is he going after Chris Hansen or Vincent? Because from what I understand, it's Vincent's the one who did it. And I think he'd probably, I'm not a lawyer or anything, but I think he would probably have better luck going after Vincent himself, especially since him and Vincent are no longer a unit, allegedly. Now, I haven't seen any proof that Vincent's actually been fired. Now, I assume he has been. Otherwise, it's like the greatest con of all time. Which, by the way, I'm thinking about sending something to Vincent and getting him on here. I want to talk to him. Because I don't know if anyone's reached out to him and offered to give him a platform to speak. But I really would want to talk to Vincent. Just get his perspective on things. Because I'm sure he has a lot to say. I call the Hanson groupies turtlenecks. That's not a bad name. He does look good in a turtleneck. Uh, I will give the man that. But he's got a lot of slick car salesman vibes that I've noticed since he came to YouTube. I don't know if anyone else picks that up, but I noticed that from day one, and I figured it was just him trying to be charming. But with all the context now, I think he might just be a slick car salesman. I definitely want to see a live stream of Onision being taken out in cuffs from the Swamp Shack as well. I think that is going to happen at this rate, especially if Chris Hansen is just this desperate for views and all that. He'll probably be camped outside his house waiting. Well, as far as that goes, I'm not contacting Vincent probably through private message because I don't think I can on my thing. I think I actually have to do the whole at people at public. I'm not blocked or anything, but he's also not following me. So I'm not going to be hostile to Vincent. You see, I just want to hear what he has to say, hear his perspective on things. See, I actually, because I have a weird sense of humor, I think Vincent is hilarious. And I'm not the whole short bus thing. That wasn't all that funny. But replacing his website and putting his boss's mugshot up there, that is hilarious. I love that. That's the sort of thing that I would have done a few years ago. So I am okay with that. That's funny. Now, yes, it's petty and juvenile, but it's funny. I like it. It's trollish behavior. Yeah, well, I'm not gonna. Well, I'd have to discuss with Vincent that the individual of whom I have a truce with would be a sore topic and probably not a good idea to bring it up. We'd have to discuss probably that particular stream, but I would probably be very careful with my words, not to. Well, the thing is, it would probably just make him mad to begin with. So we'll just see. I'm not gonna say anything disparagingly. I plan to keep my word. I'm more interested in just the overall context of everything involving Vincent, his interactions with Chris Hansen and all, and definitely want to hear his thoughts on like his firing in particular, because I noticed he did comment to that Newsweek article, I think it was. So he's open to media comments. So I don't know if no one's offered to give him a platform, or if nobody's, or if he's just rejected people. He doesn't want to talk about it. He's going anonymous. So we'll see. I might do it. Oh, well, Candy. Uh, that would be something to ask him about deleting of accounts. I also don't want to give him a hostile environment. I want it to be open. I want to give him a platform to speak. But I also don't want him. I don't want to hold his feet to the fire necessarily. But I will ask things like that. Things like that are non-hostile. Things that are things that definitely things that need to be asked, but are more technical questions, I guess you could say. Oh, I've heard about the whole J Station thing. I'm not fully caught up with that, but I heard that the whole thing with his girlfriend might not be true, and that he's been arrested now for something. Yeah, that's crazy. I might do a video talking about him at some point too. I don't know. He seems to just be for lack of a better term, a fuck up. So he might not even be worth talking about. Yeah, you see, I went on pro streams actually when the whole thing with the Truce individual started, and I was just looking at it, just curious to see what it was. I had one look at the UI, and the UI on YouTube is pretty bad. It's really bad, actually. The UI on pro streams is terrible. Apparently, that website is not even his; that it was taken from somebody else. Why would you take that one? It's horrible. It made my eyes just. I couldn't use it. I couldn't even watch videos on it, let alone make an account on it, so I didn't even bother. I don't know why he would make his website look like that. I want to have a talk with him about that, and just under the context that he was the one who made it, and actually criticize him a little bit. Like, what was he thinking when he made this? At least you notice something else too. He's trying to. I'll go ahead and just say this. He's trying to hide the fact those websites are stolen, because for the longest time you could never right click on any of those websites. That's because you could right click and inspect element and see the actual code for the website, the source code for the website. And if you had seen that, you could have easily have figured out at that point it may not have actually been his. Now there are other ways to open inspect element, which is how people figured it out, of course, that that it was probably not his. So it's interesting. Little things like that if you've been on the internet for a long time, you can kind of pick up on. That are just ring a few alarm bells off. So I never made an account on pro streams. I'm glad I didn't, especially considering all we know now. Sorry, catching up with chat. I've been rambling for a little bit. Yeah, I wasn't there for the New Year's thing, so I'm not fully aware of what went down. I've never seen the full stream either. I've only seen the edited version. But I understand that a lot of what was going on is people were super chatting, pressing him, and that's what definitely caused the rant that he went on. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not gonna crap on Vincent too much for the actual rant he went on. At least the parts that I have seen. He doesn't seem to have much control of himself while he's intoxicated, which is fine. You just got to be careful. Oh, hey Hogan, awesome, dedicated chat troll. Yeah, I agree with you as well, Hogan. That website was probably he probably checked it on mobile and never even bothered seeing what it looked like on PC, because I don't know how you could look at that and then I don't know. His website is terrible. Oh yeah, here when he like cut away to his stream at the end of one of the interviews, and he was sitting there like eating popcorn or eating chips or whatever he was doing, I bursted out laughing. It was like, oh my god, this is a parody. This isn't real. Because why in the world would you be sitting there eating chips and just like he it was like a parody. He was like that. I don't know. That was on purpose. He was trying to be funny, but like, oh, time and place. Time and place. I mean, that's the sort of, like, it reminded me of Keemstar a little bit, how he sits there and eats popcorns while things are going on. That's a gimmick, but it just felt like I almost felt a little rude, honestly, considering what they had just been discussing like 10 minutes prior. Yeah, that's another thing too. I don't even know if I could discuss that with Vincent during the interview about him nuking people's channels like that, because I have a huge problem with that. That's one of the reasons YouTube is going to end up becoming uninhabitable one day, is because these content creators can go around declaring war on people with copyright strikes. Well, I don't know how long Vincent's been employed with Chris Hansen. It looked like they had been employed together for a while, but it seems like Vincent was getting very involved in the community, letting the fame get to his head a little bit, which is fine. He can let the fame get to his head a little bit, but overall, I think that he just I don't know how to put it. He got he got too close to the trees to see the forest, and he was acting unprofessionally. That's exactly what he was doing. What I would have done in his situation, to make sock accounts to act unprofessionally. Don't put your face into it. Don't have it connected to you at all. Because his handle on Twitter is not Vincent Nicotra. It's Vin Interactive Media. It's like you're speaking for your company there a little bit. And he's not a YouTuber either, really. I mean, he kind of is. But he's also supposed to be like a website builder, allegedly. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel as though there needs to be a degree of separation between your company Twitter and retweeting Donald Trump and making lewd jokes and things like that. Like, you should probably just have a separate Twitter for that, because those sorts of things just cause you problems. And my proof is poor Vincent Nicotra's current fate. Well, it's okay if CT self promotes a little bit. After all, I don't feel as though I am competing with the ASMR channel. Most likely not. But we shall see. Well, the thing about the things he's done since that stream, since he's been sort of silent now. I don't know. I don't think Gene is Vincent, because it just doesn't add up. But he's still been behind the scenes trolling people. I think he's been in contact with a few people who have said that he's just been flipping out. I think he's in a bad way. Uh I don't know how that. Apparently, people in his students contacted his uh his dean or something from his school. So now his school is probably coming down on him pretty hard. So A+ for those students, no doubt. Yeah, I don't know. I don't agree with that necessarily. That he should be having his teaching stuff interfered with. That's a little far for me. But I don't know. I think the only thing that he should be having definitely is some civil cases thrown against him from all the people he's doxxed. Yap Yap, Westmost. Uh, Definitely needs to have some stuff taken down to his YouTube channel, probably, for all the false copyright strikes. Well, as far as getting your plaque from YouTube, I worry about those sorts of things, because all these YouTube people are actually auctioning off their plaques. So is YouTube sending you this nice plaque or whatever just so they can not pay you, just so you feel good about yourself as they don't pay you? Because you heard what people are saying. Onision has like $30 million that he made from YouTube. How does that even happen? People aren't making $30 million from YouTube now. Apparently, Hogan, the Earth is not flat. That is a CIA disinformation campaign being pushed by the globalist. Uh, NASA does lie, but they're lying about military bases on the other side of the moon. They officially denied having slave colonies on Mars, but that's also bullshit in my opinion. They've abducted children and sent them on planes, well, not planes, ships on 20-year-long missions to be slaves on Mars for some reason. I have no idea why, but maybe I'll look into that a little bit more and discuss that. Yeah, I agree. You shouldn't be saying anything that's controversial of any kind, even if you're into that sort of humor, on a business account. That's pretty bad. I wouldn't do it. Definitely want to keep all of that away from your actual business. Keep you wouldn't I wouldn't even post anything on the business account except for business related stuff. YouTube channel is a bit different. Well, SW, that's an interesting thought that he doesn't vet the people. That is very possible. I also think that he also, because if you notice Mike Morse or whatever, like you Google his name and you can see the stuff about him. Chris Hansen is in a lot of debt, and for lack of a better term, borderline unemployable schmucks can be paid a lot less. And he could be just trying to save a buck, because I don't even know if Mike Morse is being paid. He seems to get his YouTube channel shilled a lot, so it might just be a you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours kind of situation. Because every time I turn around, he's promoting, "Go watch Open Mike Morse's show," which by the way I have checked out. The Mike Morse show is decent, all allegations aside. Which I have not looked into Mike Morse, although I have heard some bad things. Yeah, I have heard you can make stuff off of Amberlynn Reid candy. The issue with that is I don't know anything about Amberlynn Reid at all. Uh, I mean, is she an interesting person? I mean, from the outset, what I see is a like some overweight person who lies about being on a diet, which on the surface isn't all that interesting. Is there some conspiracy about her? I know she had a cockroach fall out of her hat. I've seen that GIF flying around. That is interesting. Is there something particularly interesting of why everyone's obsessed with her? I agree with you, uh, Denise, that the people working for him are probably working for free. I don't see any evidence that they're being paid, because actually I think Vincent has came out and said that he isn't being paid, and that he's actually got credit card debt paying for Chris Hansen's servers. So I think he might be looking for starstruck people, people he can manipulate, not manipulate, but people he can sort of work with, and what's the term? People he can have a symbiotic relationship with, like people who have YouTube channels, and just anyone he can have work for him while saving a buck, because he's in a lot of debt, and that's a big thing too. You've heard around is that's why he won't look into certain people, is because they're not big topics. Is they want the super chats, they want to get Chris Hansen out of debt. That's where his slick car salesman vibe comes from. Oh yeah, I've heard you say that you live near her, Roger. And if I decide to look into Amberlynn Reid, I'll have to talk to you about it, because I'm completely ignorant to that. I mean, she might be interesting. The thing about YouTubers like her though is that their uh their audience is sort of watching them fail in a sense. I mean, they don't fault most. I don't feel like most of those people like her. They call them lol cows, for lack of a better term. Just people that almost like not hate. They're kind of hate watched. They're also just watched more out of just interest to see what sort of crazy things they're going to do next. So we will see if that amuses me. I mean, I've heard about her for a long time, and that she is just into some weird stuff, and is always talking about some instance like years and years ago where she had lost a bunch of weight, and that she's clinging on to that until now. And I almost feel bad for it if that's true. Yeah, I agree, Candy, that she's a giant rabbit hole. I'm sure she has her own long Wikipedia entry somewhere. Yeah, she is an interesting case study. I think a lot of people on YouTube who have been uploading videos for a long time who are overly personable are interesting case studies. Just because you can learn a lot about them, just how they. It's almost like a normal person given fame. It's like a Hollywood celebrity almost, with none of the benefits but all of the stress, and you can watch them react to it. It's a it's like reality TV, but actual reality. I had a couple of subs just from commenting around to Irish, so I don't know. I didn't comment a lot on things, but back when YouTube had the thing where you could dislike and like comments and it actually meant something, you you would have people all the time liking my comments and subscribing and stuff like that. But I think YouTube did like a purge or whatever, and I had like 50 subscribers who just vanished. So when I started uploading videos, I had like 20 some left. Oh, Encyclopedia Dramatica shut down? Really? I was just on there a while ago, like a month ago, I think, looking at Onision stuff. That's crazy if it did shut down. There's there's alternatives, but yeah, that was a good one. I mean, some of their humor is kind of juvenile, but sometimes they make me laugh. And they also have obscure articles in there that's written by like stalkers, because you have people there with hardly any following that had these huge entries documenting everything. Sorry if you can hear my dogs. Oh, Kiwi Farms is an interesting place. I lurk on Kiwi Farms sometimes. But, well, they doxed you for content? Really? Wow. Yeah, they are, there's some pretty mean people over there. You gotta be careful. You know? It's not Twitter. I mean, it's the Wild West. I like it. I definitely like it, but you gotta be careful. They're mean. Especially if you're a content creator. It's like there's some sort of unspoken rule there that you can't be posting as a content creator. My dogs, Karen, are oh, sorry, one just moved. Well, the mother is a English Bulldog Pit Bull mix. The father is a Yorkie Poodle mix, and yeah, they are big dogs, kind of very tall dogs, definitely, and they have these hard pit bull skulls and these huge teeth. So they're mean looking animals sometimes, but they're also very very cute, and they're very smart as well from the poodle. I mean they take right to your orders very quickly. So very well behaved. Otherwise, I couldn't handle having 5 dogs and 2 cats. Don't ask me what the cats are. I have no idea. Yeah, the pit bulls mixes are always fun. I mean, it's true what they say about pit bulls about them. I'm not going to say that they're aggressive. They are mean though. They're very temperamental. Now our pit mix is the only one that's really temperamental. The other ones just kind of get an attitude sometimes. They throw some tantrums, but a lot of times I think the pits scare people because a lot of times they'll growl and they're not actually intending to like go after anybody. They're just growling out of annoyance. I feel like people take that as aggression. You gotta kind of know what you're dealing with pit bulls. But uh, considering their original function was to stop assassins and things like that, they're gonna be a little temperamental. They're good dogs though. They're great around kids. You know, if I had to leave my pit bull around a baby, I'd have to get it to calm down some because it's a little rambunctious. But I would trust it. Yeah, CT. The formatting for the social shills are fine. I'll probably switch the Discord around. Maybe I don't know. I don't really use Discord a lot except for to call people every once in a while. So we'll see. Yeah. Uh, I like the poodles. They're hypoallergenic, so if you're allergic to dogs, you can get a poodle and be fine. So, but yeah, I can't show you him, but he is. I have one of my dogs over here sleeping right now. One of my monsters. Now the problem is that he hates his father a lot, with a fiery passion, and which would be fine. We can dogs fight sometimes, but you this one over here because of the pit, he could easily open his mouth and stick his father's whole head in his mouth, and yeah, trying to deal with those two in a fight is not gonna work. It's already gotten to the point where we have to, you know, get some people fixed and reintegrate them back into society. So we got to be careful. Oh wow, they called you a stalker, Roger? Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean you living near somebody isn't like stalking. I mean you mentioned before that you live in a sort of place where everybody sort of at least knows about everybody, so that's not stalking. Definitely not. There's a lot of there's a lot of weird things going along there. Well, if you have a an article on kiwi farms, I'll have to check that out because kiwi farms, if nothing else, makes people laugh. I hope I never get an article on those websites. I'm sure I'm not interesting enough to actually merit one. Well, Kanish, I am not going to discuss the person of whom I have a truce with. So, but you all in the chat are free to discuss that if you so desire. I'm not going to censor. No one else has a truce as far as I'm aware. So, bye SW. Sorry, it's hard to keep up with chat. Wow. Yeah, that's all right. Well, verily, Veronica. Have fun talking to yourself. We all do that from time to times, I think. Well, let's take a quick second here to look at the chat and make sure everything is functional. All right. Well, oh, like if you have like an arrest thing online, they can get your address. Yeah, that kind of thing can happen. Yeah, depending on your living situation, that could be good or bad. But I feel for you. I wouldn't want anything like that happening to anybody. Well, I do have a focus stare. I'm good. I'm good. It's from all those years of reading things on the screen. A lot of times, very small text too. So, yeah, my eyes very strained. They say it's bad for your eyes, but every time I go to an eye doctor, I'm told I'm fine. So we'll see. I'm sure I'll pay for it later. Well, I think you can get like mugshots CT and things like that for just out in the open. I think that's just stuff that you can do. I mean, the media does it all the time. Uh, I don't know if it's public or if you can get it like Freedom of Information Act, which a lot of people don't understand. The Freedom of Information Act, you can get that. You don't necessarily have to be some big journalist. You can just get it. Uh, well, the dark web is a bit overhyped, Hogan. Uh, about the only thing you can get on the dark web that's worth a damn is the Silk Road, which is just guns and drugs and a couple other things that people might be interested in buying through Bitcoin. The whole Red Room thing, I haven't found any. I've looked for a while. I haven't found any of that crazy stuff. They do exist. I do know that they exist. I've seen evidence that they exist, but I have not personally found one. It's it's very disappointing because, well, I don't know if I would say it's disappointing, but it's very hard to find those unless you're in the scene, so to speak. Yeah. Well, I hope you stay safe, Roger. I know the Kiwi Farms people aren't going to be the people you have to worry about. The people at Kiwi Farms generally are civilized folk, but if that stuff is out there, you never know who can get their hands on it. You might even have someone in your real life who might have it out for you to come do that. So yeah, it's just something to keep a lookout for. That's why I have all these dogs. God help any intruder who decides to come into my house. Oh yeah, my cats will stop people as well. One of my cats is quite big and vicious. Kind of have to be to defend yourself from 5 dogs. And the smaller one, the dogs just sort of tolerate more or less. Oh wow, 3 gang wars. Yeah. I mean, well, it's good. Probably the people on the internet will be less threatening than actual gangs. Generally, the people on the internet who try to show up at people's houses are trying to do so to screw with them in some way, not to actually do harm. So you come around there with your baseball bat or whatever, that's gonna be a rude awakening for them. A red room is a, well, for lack of a better way to put it, honestly, because it's kind of hard to say these things lightly. It's basically people being tortured, killed, sometimes children being tortured or killed, and it's being advertised for money. And sometimes you can use Bitcoin and make suggestions to people, like they donate $10 worth of Bitcoin, and okay, you can have the person start to get flayed and things like that. Now these are things that are alleged. I have never actually seen any of these because you need contacts and you need to be a messed up individual to actually get access to these things. RSN actually has fired me from being employed. It's very sad, actually. So I will be looking for new employment. Hence the PayPal link, just to try and survive. Life of a Spy already didn't pay much. It was minimum wage. Can you believe that? Who pays their spies minimum wage? It's how you create double agents, in my opinion. So, well, I don't know if I would have assaulted Chris Hansen, but I definitely would not have called 911 right away. That was a bad move, especially because it led to people looking for any other 911 calls that had been happening. So he didn't think that far ahead. And to be honest, Chris Hansen wasn't. If you watch the video, Chris Hansen wasn't even threatening him either. He was just knocking on his door. And I bet if you'd walked up to the door and said, "Hey man, leave," he'd have gone. He'd have left. Now, if he refuses to leave at that point, then I guess you have to call the cops, have the guy removed. Uh, if you trust the cops, after all, some people don't trust the cops, and I think if someone says leave and you don't leave, they have a right to do whatever at that point. So. Yeah, I mean, you can find a lot of information about people online. That's why when people were saying that Chris Hansen doxed Onision, I was like, that's insane. I've known where Onision has lived for like 5 years, 6 years going on at this point. It's very public knowledge where the man lives. You can find it very easily through his, first of all, he doxed himself by basically publicizing his whole house during his IRS video. You can find a ton of his stuff online that other people have doxed him. You can see through his shell companies that he's allegedly using for tax evasion and possibly a pedophile ring, that you can see his address and an association with that because he has it attached to him personally. So all of this is very easy to find where the man lives. It doesn't take much searching either. So I don't know, but generally, it's very hard to figure out where people live unless they have some kind of police record or they have a business or something like that. That's easier to track them down. Yeah, yeah. Certain other people have doxed themselves by filming in front of their houses. They've doxed themselves by doing things that lead indirectly to their doxing. I mean, it is what it is. But most people, however, who have people looking up their police records and things like that, it's crazy. See, if they know where Roger lives, chances are they know where Amberlynn Reid lives as well. And I don't think Amberlynn Reid has too many stalkers. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Amberlynn Reid is being stalked on a daily basis and lives on a compound like Onision does. But I am very jealous of. I aspire to the level of paranoia of which Onision lives under. If I could have all those cameras set up in my house, I'd do it. I mean, that guy is safe. Well, you need more than just the front of a house, especially if you live in one of those places where all the houses look alike Kanish. The thing is that you need like at least here you need house numbers and things like that that'll personally identify your home that you could look into. You need like a street address, just little things like that that you can be found. Now you can also Google Maps a lot of things around the world, where if you find something that looks similar, you can theoretically do it that way. And there's lots of ways to figure out where people live, or this is a scary one too. If you're doing like a long live stream at night and you say you live stream staring at the sky all night, and you do it multiple nights, people could theoretically, because this has happened, 4chan people have way too much time on their hands, in my opinion. They could use star constellations. If they can locate some star constellations in the sky, triangulate a vicinity of where your location is, and then go from there in terms of doxing you. So if people are dedicated, they can find you. if you reveal yourself, even just staring at the sky. So it's something to keep in mind. Oh, hey, Hala. Oh, how long have we been streaming here? Actually, oh, it's a little bit. We can keep going for a while. Got all night before I switch over to the game. Yeah, I don't know how you could be a fan of someone like Amberlynn Reid, like unironically, just because of the all the drama and all the nonsense they've gone through. You see someone like Trisha Paytas, you can be a fan of unironically because you can be from the perspective that they're like a troll or that they're just a gimmick. But someone like Amberlynn Reid, I think they're just legitimately the way they are, and I just don't know how you could be a big fan of that. Well, the thing is that about recording the footage of his daughter falling from the window. That's pretty messed up. I mean, I don't know what he was thinking of trying to do that. So there could be a lot of reasons, yeah, up to and including the obvious that he was, trying to cover his own ass after he did something wrong. But if your first instinct when your kid falls out the window is to grab a camera and start recording, you might be a psychopath. I'm just saying. It's possible. Your thought process does not align with normal people, even on a remote level. Yeah, I think the whole Trisha Paytas person is a bit of a troll. I don't know if they're actually having legitimate problems or not. Maybe they are. Maybe I'm wrong, and I think the whole thing is an elaborate troll. I think just the gimmick of it on the kitchen floor still after all this time. I don't know. It just seems like it's an act, a funny act, slightly, but an act. But I could say the same thing about Yaniv. I think Yaniv is an act as well, just because of how much of a parody it actually is. The Witty Widow? Interesting. I'm not for sure who that is. That's something I'll look into that person. Well, as far as wrenches go, you were late to the party. I don't want to hand out too many wrenches because I just don't want too many cooks in the kitchen. However, when the wrench thing opens up again, you will definitely be top of the list. And I'll of course go over the rules. Of course, make sure you're okay with everything. Don't want to just randomly wrench people with no direction whatsoever just to see what will happen. I mean, that kind of chaos is amusing, but I don't think it will go well. And of course, if you make me mad, I will have to demod you and scream at you publicly. It's just tradition. That's right. Show up on time. Candy's 100% correct. Uh, but Yes, I definitely think that that Onision has some major major things he needs to figure out for himself regarding his children. I hope he has arrangements for them set up for what's going to happen to them when, if and when him and Kai are dealt with, because you know that those kids are going to have to be taken somewhere, and going to the foster care system is not the best choice necessarily. Kai's parents are normal, I guess, so that would be, I guess, ideal. I mean, I know Onision's mother is a crazy person who raised him with the idea that he was a chosen one and the indigo child. So we can't really trust the children there because we'll have more cult leaders running around. Yeah, definitely need to get those kids to Kai's parents. That's what I would rather do. Yeah, that's uh that's interesting. Telling people to go troll them. That's funny as well. I would definitely do that at some point. Just do a thing where people can shout themselves out and we'll just go troll each other. Oh man. Don't make me. I'll see if I can pull up the refrog, but that'll probably get me in trouble with YouTube any more than I already am. Wow. It's hard to keep up with all this chat. But switching topics back to the Amberlynn Reid thing, I would say that that person needs to definitely get some help. I know she did a weigh-in recently that I looked into, and from what I hear, she did lose some weight. So good for them for that if that's true. But this person also apparently has a history of lying about it. So who knows if it's true to begin with? It's worth investigating. Maybe get like some pictures and compare them side by side to see if it actually looks like they're getting smaller. That's true. Growling is natural, but reeing is cultural. That I've seen some videos of people from all over the world having their own little freak out. That's always good. Hey Ahmed, welcome. I'm doing good. How are you? Please re for us. Hmm. I don't even know what the if you actually make the re noise. That's Yeah, that's a voice actor type thing. I'll look into it. I'll have to practice. Even parrots don't just talk right away. Parrots have to practice their songs in private first before they start to speak. They actually feel embarrassed about it. At least that's what I was reading about parrots. Parrots are very embarrassed about the fact they have to practice like their mimicking of the way people speak. So in private, they'll sit there and they'll try to get better at it, like singing almost. And then once they feel like they've perfected it, they'll say it back to you as a like a performance, and when they feel very proud about themselves afterwards. Whoa, Roger, that's insane. That's yeah, no, that person has a problem. I think that the whole excessive eating thing is like just like the bad as the not eating thing. Yeah, that's scary. Yeah, that I don't know how that person's still alive. That wow. Oh, I'll trust your opinion, uh, Roger, on that sort of thing. You've been covering her for a while. It looks like. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't even know. Is that? Do you think that Amberlynn Reid might be trolling everyone, or is that just legitimately how that person is? Because I feel like a lot of times it's a mixture of both. There was this one Twitch streamer who was going off on people, saying that, "Oh my God, if you people do not subscribe, you are basically leeches," and all that. That person is a character. That person isn't real. No one is that entitled. I mean, yeah, people are that entitled, but they're also not going to go through the effort to be a Twitch streamer to display their entitledness. Uh, that person is next level entertaining, and I would some streamers are like that, where people donate to them just so they can get roasted, and I can definitely see that. Yeah, I think trolling for cash, that's true. I can believe that. Oh, I'm sure Amberlynn Reid makes a good amount of money. I bet I could check the Social Blade. I don't know how accurate Social Blade actually is. I know a lot of YouTubers don't talk about it in terms of how the money thing works. So I don't know how accurate Social Blade is, but it's interesting because you got to imagine she makes decent money just from all the people just curiosity watching her. So sorry if I drag anything across this thing here and you hear it moving cords around. Oh yeah, that's the best thing about Onision. Well, I don't know if it's the best thing about Onision. The hater community around Onision is horrible. Especially at least the ones on Twitter, I would say, because the anti-Onision type thing on Twitter, I tried to look into it. I even joined that little Discord briefly. They are crazy people that can't be reasoned with in any way. So I don't know. Yeah, the people going after Onision. If you want a perfect example of what's wrong with them, you need to find a copy of the Stevie Wolf stream with Chris Hansen with the chat available, because they turned off the chat. If you want to go back to the stream originally, the chat's not there. Okay, they freaked out because Stevie Wolf does not give a fuck, and the average person, the anti-Onision people on Twitter, the average one, just can't handle it, and it was hilarious. The chat was the best part about that stream, and I knew it was going to be glorious because these people are very predictable. They're insane. They react badly to anything. They don't even understand time and place. They'll freak out about the pronoun thing when he's going deep into, you know, what these people are doing. I mean, it's crazy. Hello, Kush. Uh, I am from multiple places. Uh, I'm a drifter. I don't really call one individual place my home. Are you schizophrenic? Well, that is what the Church of Psychology told me, but I don't take their opinion with much validity. I treat it more like a gimmick or a joke, to be honest. Well, Kanish, there was speaking that reminded me of something about male prisons and all. There was an actual straight up pedophile released from prison apparently because of their transgender status. There was a big hubbub about that. Apparently, I haven't looked too much into that because that sort of stuff just makes me angry. But apparently, they just got away with everything. They were just released. I don't know what's up with that. That doesn't sound right. Yeah, people are allowed to ask that sort of thing. That's fine. It's because of the name. I thought about changing it to the YouTube prepper, but I kind of like the name. See, you'll learn that about me too. There are certain words that I just think sound cool that I kind of appropriate for my vocabulary. I sort of use them. Oh, Scientology scares me too. They have like little I guess you call them embassies almost in various places. The embassies that they have are pretty much just sitting there to preach and run basically little mini churches. And so they're not just in the United States and things like that. And their leader, crap, I'm blanking on his name. He's his father has spoken out against him and made a book about it too because of, oh my god, I need to know his name. I know the leader of Scientology's name because I've looked into Scientology a lot. And basically, after L. Ron Hubbard died, this guy, who was like his caretaker in his final days, took over. And like this dude is short too. Just throwing that out there. You know how Tom Cruise gets made fun of for being short? This guy dwarfs Tom Cruise, or not dwarfs Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise dwarfs this guy. Okay, and yet if you watch a video of them shaking hands, he full on like alpha males and pulls him in for a hug. I mean, this guy has a lot of power. Hold on, let me get his name because I want to go ahead and give him a shout out, I guess you would call it. If I can find him. Yeah, you get me started on Scientology. They trolled the IRS, basically. The IRS is a non-functioning globalist entity because you can just harass them into becoming tax exempt. So don't be surprised if my channel officially becomes a religion at some point. Just because why not? Oh my god, I cannot find the man's name to save myself. Yeah, Ron Miscavige is the one who I think wrote the book. Yeah, David Miscavige is the leader of Scientology. Yeah. So going from there, yeah, Scientology has this weird belief system. If you look at Dianetics, they have people they call breeders that they have allegedly, some of them are in the cult, some of them they've allegedly kidnapped to use. Allegedly, I gotta use allegedly because guess what? They're all run by lawyers, globalist lawyers that will sue you, and they watch everything that mentions them. All by the way, hi, There's a joke on social media for the person who used to run the thing. I don't know who runs it now, but people used to shout her out because of how it would work. Because they watch everything that mentions them. They're all run by globalist lawyers. They make them sign billion-year contracts to serve on their naval ship, which, by the way, functions as a slave vessel essentially. They're all lawyers, so they know how to operate just within the bounds of the law to bully essentially anything that gets in their way. There's no way to stop Scientology short of breaking the law. So the best thing you can do, I guess, is wait them out, because eventually those types of cults, religions will die out. Organized religion has a very, very hard time functioning in the modern day. Now they're trying to adapt, but it's a very difficult process for them. Some are better at it than others. Some religions have actually been revitalized by the internet. The pagans are very good at using the internet to spread their stuff. But some things, like in Scientology, are just the stigma. There's a stigma, rightfully so, around Scientology, and some of their beliefs are just too insane to really get into. Xenu and all that. As soon as the Xenu thing got out, they were done. You can't talk your way out of that. Well, yeah, you say that you say the Scientology is present in India running charity shows. You're right. They do run charity. They run a lot of charity stuff. A lot of religions do. That's one of the big things about it is that they do that so that way that they can continue to operate on some level of what's the term? They have some level of cooperation with the public. They have good public relations. You don't want the public ire turned against you, and a lot of religions do specifically go after that. And charity is an easy way to do it. Which, by the way, you can have whatever motive you want to do charity. Charity is charity, unless you're pocketing it like the Red Cross does or FEMA. FEMA, by the way, has death camps. Just gonna throw that out there as well. So don't donate to FEMA either. Yeah, I mean, the oldest religion in the world. I'm not for sure which one that one is. See, I don't know if we actually know the oldest religion in the world. But, oh yeah, doxing links. That's true. I'm being doxed publicly. Well, the thing is about the tax exempt status. I'm not even sure if certain religions should be tax exempt. Scientology is an obvious example. Then there's also the Catholic Church, which, by the way, makes a lot of money. The Catholic Church is very profitable. And there's been so many cases of priests pocketing the money. Now, if you want to go a bit further than that, you could talk about Vatican City. And that Vatican City is a country. So, at what level does the Catholic churches in the entire world owe fealty to Vatican City? Aren't they essentially like embassies almost? I mean, it's something to consider. They owe, on some level, allegiance to the Pope. Isn't that how it's supposed to work? That's a good idea, CT. A Q&A video. Maybe a Q&A stream. I don't know. It's hard to do so. I will if I do a Q&A video, I'll have to put in some actual effort. But I can give more concise answers, so maybe I'll do a video. Well, I don't know a lot about Hinduism. Hinduism is a very old religion, though. It's definitely had some changes done to it over the years, I think, because of just how many people have conquered India. I mean, the Muslims have conquered India multiple times. The British have conquered India. I mean, there's a lot that goes on. Now, it's also spawned multiple religions. Like Sikhism, I think, is an offshoot of Hinduism and a little bit of Islam influence. And there's also, I don't know much about this. There's also, isn't there three major religions in India in terms of like non-Abrahamic, like Jain, which are like the peaceful types, very much so. Like like a Jainist extremist is like won't even kill an ant. Those types of things. What's the other one? Buddhism is what I hear is very common over there. But I don't know much about that specific area of the world because of my Western bias. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, CT. Just to kind of farm questions out. Maybe make a thing where people can comment questions under my videos, and I'll gather those up too. I'll actually have to check my social media once in a while to actually do that. Oh, I know that Buddhism and Jainism have no connection to Islam. I know that. But if I was under the impression that Sikhism showed up around the time of the Muslim conquests, and well, I'm not. When I said influenced by, I meant more along the lines of that would not have shown up without the conquests happening. That they have a sort of a connection to each other. Now, I could be wrong. Once again, I have not looked a lot into that region during the time period. But that was the impression I got from the little bit of research that I have done. But yeah, it's all very interesting. I agree. I'll have to do more research into it. Maybe I'll even play some of my strategy game over there in that region, because well, a strategy game does have some historical inaccuracies. It's generally, in terms of feudal India, very accurate from what I hear. Now, Sikhism, I think, showed up after the feudal period, so that one is probably why I know so little about it. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of religions about being prepared for battle. A lot of the paganism religions, which, by the way, people don't like to talk about human sacrifice in pagans, but there's a connection there. Like the Aztecs were pagans. I mean, pagans a bit of a big umbrella to begin with. So saying pagans had human sacrifice is a bit of a broad term. And some of the Abrahamic religions, I think, had some human sacrifice at one point. Definitely had animal sacrifice at one point. So, but the pagans take human sacrifice and have made it an art form. But I do like it if when people can discuss religion type things and not be hostile, because religion is very interesting. It has a very important role to play in history, and I always enjoy discussing it. Yeah, feudalism is very bloody in general, especially when the lords and stuff were at war, and you would have these mass famines and everything that would occur. Because that's what they did. The soldiers would just go off the land. They would raid farms. They'd go into people's houses and take their shit. I mean, all around, it was not going to, it was not going to work out for the actual peasants. Oh, good night, Roger. Glad you can make it. You know, I'll probably be wrapping this stream up soon to get ready for my game stream, because I definitely do want to play that tonight while I have time. Yeah, Indian history is very interesting, lady. So I will definitely look more into it. There's also, speaking of topics, or speaking of time periods I don't know a lot about, World War II. I know I like the basis, but World War II, it's not so much that it's complicated, it's just we know so much about it that you can get down to the hour by hour aspects of the war if you wanted to. So there's just, the quantity is quite a lot. So I'll probably look into that at some point too. Which, by the way, those people have a strategy games for World War II as well. But I don't think YouTube will appreciate the swastika flags and things like that. I know they've been like taking down speeches from the Nazis, which I don't approve of either. I think they should leave that up for the historical value it provides. But that's just me. Well, the United States is run by globalists, and yeah, and it's slowly but surely trying to be taken over by the United Nations. And like I said, I'll make a video on that at some point explaining how all that's slowly happening. Now as for the Saudis, as far as I'm aware, are not globalists, but they are definitely bad actors. I mean, we make a lot of money selling them weapons. Oh, I know the history of the swastika and how it was appropriated by the Hindu religion. If you look at my strategy game when I play it, if I click around on the India place long enough, you'll see some swastikas or some variation of that symbol. It's because it's historically accurate. I mean, that was used by a lot of dynasties, a symbol of like strength or whatever. So, I'm aware. The reason it's attached so much to the Nazis is because of how well at marketing and branding they actually were. They slapped it on everything, all of their documents covered in swastikas. Which, by the way, there is no free speech in Germany when it comes to this topic. You can be arrested for having swastika, Nazi memorabilia, for even questioning Holocaust numbers. You can be thrown in jail. So, yeah, that's the Germans had to combat all of that very violently because of how good at marketing they actually were. Oh yeah, there's definitely more to the Saudis and the Middle East than the world is aware. People aren't even aware of the fact that places like in Israel have to have missiles shot down at least every couple of weeks because the Palestinians are trying to kill them. And you have people over there who support Palestine when they literally, if any one of those missiles was not shot down by the Iron Dome, it would be a war crime because they're firing into population centers, into cities. Like there's videos of Jewish weddings being interrupted and completely, basically they completely interrupted and ruined in a way because they have to all run under cover so that pieces of the missile and shrapnel don't hit them. Catching up on chat here. Give me a second. Yeah, World War One is interesting as well. World War One is about the actual Kaiser and the German Empire, which is, it's almost in a way a little bit of the end of feudalism. A little bit. I mean, you can kind of interpret it that way depending on how you look at it. Just because, well, it's not so much the end of feudalism; it's the end of the monarchy for Europe in a lot of ways. Now, monarchies are pretty much done for. I mean, there's less and less monarchies now than there have ever been. A lot of people don't like the British monarchy either, and that's going to be the next thing that goes, most likely. Hopefully, we're not like the French. Now, if for those of you who are not aware, the French are on the verge of another French Revolution at this point. They are, everyone of every profession is protesting in the streets. And, like the leader of France is saying things like, oh, violent protests have never worked out well in this country. or something like that, and it's like, yeah, no shit. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I like the chill streams too, just to sit back and talk. I might do more. I don't want to do like multiple a day, just because I think that's just overwhelming. I don't have time for it. But yeah, I definitely enjoy these. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of topics to get into. I uh I know I know quite a bit about a lot of obscure topics that people don't talk about on YouTube at all. So maybe I'll get into some of those one day. Yeah, the protests are getting worse over time. I definitely think it's going to end up in a situation where there's going to be armed conflict. Which, by the way, the thing we forget is armed rebellion is on the decline. We're actually overdue for some armed rebellion across the world. So it's eventually going to reach that point. Yeah, I agree. With once every now and then, I like guest streams too. I will probably do some of those at some point as well. I definitely don't want to spam the channel with it. Keep them special. I'll also be leaving this up for anyone who missed some parts of it or wants to come back and watch it again. I don't want to hide anything unless there's technical difficulties or I horribly embarrass myself in some way and don't want to admit it publicly. There we go. Skits should be a treat. Let's not eat the whole package of Oreos at once. That's true. And I definitely don't. I'll keep Oreos for 2-3 weeks. I don't eat candy or any kind of sugary type things for all at once. Yeah, I definitely need to talk about religion more. I know that YouTube doesn't like it when you talk about religion, but it's an interesting topic, especially because I can look at it objectively without any kind of real bias one way or the other. I know a lot of people when they get into religion are very hostile on the topic. All right, Kanish. Well, you have fun. I understand. Duty does call. Oh yeah, I'll definitely try to reply to your DMs. I'm sorry if I said if I take forever to get back to people. I don't check my social medias and I keep my phone in the microwave 99% of the time so they don't spy on me. So I take forever to check back. Plus lately I've been working doing some things, shoveling snow and just generally trying to keep myself busy. Keep myself from going or getting cabin fever as they call it. All right. Well, bye, Kanish, and I hope you don't get fired by the doxing. I mean, as long as you keep a low profile, I'm pretty sure you'll be fine. But unless there is anything else that anyone else would like to discuss, I'll probably be wrapping this up here in a minute because I want to get into the game before I get to sleep if I'm able to sleep tonight. No, well, you joined just in time probably to hear us wrap it up. So don't worry, I'll be leaving it up for anyone who wants to go back and watch it over. And I'll probably be doing another one of these soon enough because I enjoyed this. This was fun. Yeah, I had a few people, I think, probably sending me some panicky messages after that little stream. Yeah, I imagine having a kid helps you keep the cabin fever away because yeah, you've got bigger problems, right? I've been playing video games probably since I was a little kid. I mean, I started with the Spyro games, and eventually I escalated to being away from PlayStation and being exclusively on PC because I like the keyboard. I like the complexity that PC can provide over console games. Now those who play on consoles are okay, but they're usually, we call them console peasants because they can't handle the enhanced graphics and complexity that the PC brings. But yeah, I'm a bit of a PC elitist. I like the PC. Now that being said, there are games on console that I really do want to play that they really need to bring to PC. Uh, People generally do this thing where they'll release the game on console. They'll wait like 6 months so that all the people who hold out go buy it on console, and then they'll release it on PC, so that way they can get you to buy it twice. They did that to Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm not happy about it. Also, they did it to Grand Theft Auto 5 as well. Rockstar is good at that. They also, I think, did it to the David Cage games like Beyond Two Souls, Heavy Rain, and I'm missing one. Oh, Detroit Become Human, which I will be playing at some point as well. I do like those types of games. Oh, PC is harder to use than PlayStation by far. PC is extremely complicated. Now, if you have a Mac, it's very easy, but I don't like Apple products at all. The PC I have is not that good either, but it's definitely better than a PlayStation 2, and probably a little bit better than a PlayStation 3. But there are PCs that are much more advanced than mine that are extremely complicated to use because of just how because you have to literally take parts in and out of it with drills and all of that. But with those, you can do pretty much anything. You can do advanced video editing. You could make intros with things very easily. Lots of horsepower behind it. But I would definitely recommend that if you can handle the complexity to get a PC. The PC is the way to go. Oh yeah, they definitely need to make codes for people who already bought it. But that's the whole point. It's the gimmick is they want you to buy it twice. That's $120 instead of $60. It's a nice gimmick. I'm not saying I approve, but I like what they're doing. It's a nice little scam they got going on. I have not touched Outlast. It is a good game, from what I hear, and it looks interesting. But I also want to play that Resident Evil game, the Biohazard game. It looks kind of like Outlast too. But I haven't played a horror game since Amnesia. See, had the opposite. Horror games don't bother me at all. And Amnesia was supposed to be this big, scary horror game, and I tried to play it, and to be honest, I didn't find it scary. I was bored with it. Now, Alien Isolation, if you look that game up, Alien Isolation, that game is an actually good horror game. That game actually kind of made me jump a few times. That's the last good horror game I've played. But Amnesia, I hated that game. So maybe I'll try Outlast. Maybe that one will do a bit better. Yeah, I've heard good things. I think the last Resident Evil game I played was 4, and I was a big fan of that game for what little bit I did play of it. Yeah, I like scary games too, to some extent, but it's hard to find games that are actually scary. See, I need to get me a VR headset. Those VR headsets are the actual like key to horror games, I think. You know, being actually surrounded. See, that would get to me. I'd probably have a freak out trying to play one of those because I've heard people put on the VR headset thinking that, oh, it's fine, I know it's a game, and they put it on, and then their brain goes into overdrive because it looks so real. They feel like they're actually there. Oh yeah, Candy, I know what you mean about motion sickness. I have to turn off motion blur. Uh, I don't know if you know anything about FOV sliders, but I like FOV sliders so I can move the camera back so I'm not like zoomed in so that every little motion I make turning my head doesn't just jerk my camera around. So I know what you mean about motion sickness. I'm right there with you. I don't think Silent Hill is on PC. I think Silent Hill is a console peasant exclusive. I know that newest game that's made by those people, the what was it? I'm trying to remember the name. It's got Norman Reedus in it. Oh, whatever that's called is a good game. That's on PC. Well, thank you, lady. I I do like to learn new things because there's always interesting stuff to get into, assuming I have time. Now I can't learn a new language. I've tried that. So anything but that. I don't have an ear for languages. I've tried to learn a language. I've done the whole Rosetta Stone thing. And while I was doing well on Rosetta Stone, technically passing everything, I didn't know a word of what I was saying. So, oh yeah, Death Stranding. That's what it is. Thank you, Denise. Yeah, Death Stranding is one that I'm gonna look into. I've seen some weird screenshots of like fetuses in jars and things like that. That game looks weird. So I'll definitely look into that one at some point. Yeah, I know that Death Stranding was supposed to be a Silent Hill game, but there was some sort of fallout where they ousted Kojima. So now that's its own thing, which is interesting, I guess. I don't know if that they repurposed anything or if they just went with the exact same plot but just changed it so it wasn't Silent Hill. But yeah, I'm glad they got something with Norman Reedus and all that worked out though, because I was actually gonna play that Silent Hill game when the whole thing with PT was done, and that was a big story at the time. Yeah, I'll definitely talk about them. Maybe I'll even do a review. I do like doing reviews for things sometimes. Yeah, maybe I'll do TV show reviews. I have considered doing that as well because I am good at taking notes and giving my opinion on things. The problem is most of the TV shows I would want to review, I'd be very negative. I'd be reviewing the DC show, the TV shows, because every time I watch those are just, yeah. But all right, I'll probably wrapping the stream up in the next. Uh, we'll go with 5 minutes. So if you have any rapid fire things you'd like to throw at me real quick, do it now. And then I'll probably be back on later for a video game stream because I really want to get it back into my Sith. Assuming we're still alive. Because wow, we're at 2 hours and 20 minutes. That is insane. I was only expecting to be on for an hour. So, beat my record. going for Star Wars stuff, I've been looking a lot more into the lore for double-bladed lightsabers, just out of curiosity. And there are some interesting things. You see, they're not actually Jedi weapons, but there are Jedi in the Old Republic who use them. The leader of the Jedi Order, who I talked to during the ship hijacking, she uses a double-bladed lightsaber. Which, by the way, we'll be seeing her again. There are some interactions with her. I actually like the leader of the Jedi. She's an interesting character. And you get to interact with her more so on the Jedi side, but the Sith side has interactions with her as well. Alright, well, I'll see you around, Candy. Yeah. Well, alright, well, good night, everybody. I'll probably wait and I'll do that thing where I just hold off on a second so it ends properly and then just end abruptly. But I'll probably be back on in 20, 30 minutes, something like that, to do my my video game stream. You gotta set everything up. So, but alright. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as is tradition. And I will see you all next time.